Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I'm really happy to be here with all of you this afternoon, and I hope we can gain something from this presentation and the discussion we are going to have after the presentation. Because you see, the most important thing is that the principles of spirituality come into our workspaces, isn't it? Into our educational apparatus, into our business houses. If that comes, all the problems we are suffering in the country can be overcome. If we have some very clear-cut ideas about human life, the human mind, human destiny, and if we get serious about it, then we can overcome a lot of these self-created problems. And that is why I'm very happy that Henkel has been organizing workshops like these. Today we are especially going to discuss mind management and stress management along with that. So this is a topic which everyone asks for nowadays. It's not a rare thing. What can we draw from yoga, psychology and from Vedanta in terms of handling our mind and in terms of handling our energies, in terms of leading a fulfilling life and in terms of overcoming our problems like stress? This is what we will discuss in this presentation. Before I start, just let me give you one or two incidents from Vivekananda's life to show how stress, anxiety, all these can be overcome. And there were a number of people who used to come to Vivekananda who had such problems. And what were the pointers which he gave? You might have, those of you who have read something of his life, you might know the name of Madam Emma Carve. Yes, she was a famous opera singer in Swamiji's time. And she was a French opera singer who was very popular in the United States. So she was so popular, I was in the United States recently and even now people remember her. So in her own time, she was a celebrity. And although she had everything that a human being could want, she was not happy, as many celebrities are. And she was depressed and she had all the fame and fortune that a young person could have at that time. But she was over anxious. She was not an easy person to live with, actually. She had strong likes and dislikes, a very willful mind. And to top it all, so she would not get along well with people. And she had lost her daughter. So all this put together and she went into a deep state of depression. And 4 times she tried to commit suicide, but failed. So that was another depression for her. And then she heard of Vivekananda and she came to meet him. Now, as soon as she entered Vivekananda's room, Vivekananda was sitting there. He was a voracious reader. So something was in his hand, but he saw a very disturbing presence. And he looked up and she was standing there and he said, "My child, you carry such a disturbing atmosphere around you. Why should this be? Become calm, it is important." And then he said, "Learn to forgive. Learn to forgive, learn to take your life into your hands. Become happy and gay again. Make peace with your mind and everything will be all right. Life is to be celebrated. Why should we go into negativities and depression?" And many of these problems which are created by our minds, you see, the external factor is secondary many times. Our reaction, our response is primary. And that can be very explosive sometimes. So here we will try to see how all this yoga, Vedanta, all this help us in mind management. As soon as Vivekananda said these words, that lady calmed down. Vivekananda was a great yogi. He had that power. That lady calmed down. Later on she writes in her reminiscences, "It is as it were he took away my sorrow from me. I have met this noble man who simply carried the weight out of my heart and gave me the peace and joy which a good life offers." Now, what did Vivekananda do to her that she became like this? Same case is that of Rockefeller. You know Rockefeller and the amount of contribution he has made to the modern world. He was the Bill Gates of his time. And he also, when he came to Vivekananda, by that time he was not the richest man as yet in America, but he was the owner of the Standard Oil Company who had given his entire life to building his business. He was also very willful and a go-getter and not very easy to get along with, but he amassed a huge fortune. Everything he had, but no peace of mind. Absolutely restless mind. And he didn't know what to do. He was just searching for solutions. Somebody told him a monk has come and living in this place, you go and meet him. And he said, I don't believe in all that. But still he came because no other solution. And as soon as he entered Vivekananda's drawing room, Vivekananda was not there, he was in the study. So then he went there further. He just brushed aside the butler. He had his own way, He was quite impulsive. He went inside and Vivekananda was sitting on a chair like this. And he didn't even look up. And Rockefeller came and stood in front of him. And then Rockefeller said, he just wanted to catch his attention. And then Vivekananda just lifted his eyes and detected the troubled atmosphere around him. And then he told him a few things which were private to Rockefeller. Only he knew of it, and maybe his family knew of it. And then he said, I know what you lack. You lack peace of mind. You are the owner of so much, but the basic thing is not there with which you can enjoy life after amassing so much. And then Rockefeller said, how did you know this? And Vivekananda said, I don't need somebody to tell me. I can see through you as one can see through a glass case. And then he said, look, you have assumed you are the owner of your wealth. Remember this, you are not the owner of your wealth, you are the custodian of your wealth. And your wealth is not yours. It is meant for the people who are in need. It is passing through you. You are a trustee. You are a custodian. But you are not the owner. And you are meant to use that wealth for others, for those who are in need. And if you are not doing that, you will not find peace of mind. Rockefeller was not used to being advised. So he listened to all this and became very serious and abruptly left the place. After some time, after a few days, he came back with a huge check. And he came to the study of Vivekananda, and he threw a document in front of Vivekananda. Again, Vivekananda didn't lift his eyes, Then when he threw that document in front of him, he lifted up his eyes and he said, oh, you come again? And he said, yes, look at this. I have made a huge donation to a public cause. And Vivekananda passed through it. Yes, he had made it. And then he said, okay, so then you can thank me for it. And Vivekananda said, I should thank you. You should thank me. I have brought back your peace of mind. Rockefeller went on to become one of the greatest donors of his life. 550 million in those days, which I don't know will amount to how many dollars today. He donated. He was the Bill Gates of his time. And the last 4 years of his life were completely given to philanthropic work. He stepped out of his business, gave it off to his son, and finally decided to do something to bring cheer and happiness and fullness, a kind of fulfillment into his life. And towards the end of his life, he acknowledged this. Those powerful words of Vivekananda, you are not the owner of your wealth, you are the custodian of your wealth. Your wealth is meant to be used for people who are in need. That saved him, as it were, from his own mind. It is possible for our intelligence to turn against us if we are not trained in mind management. If we do not know certain basic facts about our minds, if we do not know certain basic facts about our life, it is possible for our intelligence to turn against us. No matter how much we are earning, 7-figure salaries, everything you have in life. But the essential thing will not come. If there is no stability of mind, you cannot even enjoy your plate of food, isn't it? If there is no basic calmness, you cannot enjoy even the little things of life. What to speak of the great joys of life? तो ये हमारे मन में आने के लिए there are certain basic things which we should know. How this mind works. What is it that satisfies it? And how do we create our sanskars? You see, there are people who do not have too much in terms of wealth, in terms of fame, fortune, but they are very happy and contented and givers, as Rockefeller became. So what are the key factors that generate these beautiful sentiments in our mind, these beautiful ideas, this beautiful spirit of giving and fulfilling oneself through that? The science of this entire thing, it is compulsory to all organizations. You know, nowadays I'm mainly called into educational institutions and corporates to bring these ideas. Educational institutions, it's okay, I'm talking to students whose mind is still developing. But in corporates, in business houses, many times, you know, we have grown old without growing up. Isn't it? We do not know some of the basic facts of life. हमारे कल्चर में एक मंत्र है, पूर्ण, आपने सुना होगा, पूर्णमदं पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य मादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Very significant. We were recently discussing this in Vivekananda Institute of Management. It means what? Everything is Purna, everything is Brahman. Purnamadam, Purnamidam. Everything that you see is Brahman. Purnat, Purnamudachyate. But the strange logic of spirituality is, if you add Purna to Purna also, it remains Purna. If you subtract Purna from Purna also, it remains Purna. Which means what? See, we know normal mathematical logic. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 and 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. So when we have to give something, we feel it is being subtracted from us. 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. I will become 0. Something will become less in me. I will become a pauper if I keep giving. But you know, that holds only for mathematics. In every other sphere of life, if you give, 2 minus 2 will remain over. That is the logic. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. How does this work? Let me give you a real life example. See, a mother, she has 2 children, 1 son and 1 daughter. Now she gives her full Purna love to her son. Does that mean she becomes bereft of love for her daughter? The more love she gives her son, the more her heart becomes full, and the full love again she gives her daughter. Again the Purna love she gives her husband, she gives the family, the guests coming into the family. The more you give, the more you are replenished. The nature of human emotion is like this. The nature of service is like this. If you share, it increases. If you don't give, you will become bereft of it. If you don't share with others, you will become 0. But if you share, the 2 remains over. This is the strange logic of human life, of spirituality, of human emotion, of our family relationships, of our corporate relationships. This must become part of our thinking, that we can grow only by sharing, and sharing with your heart, not just like that because it's part of our growth. Not like that, with your heart. If you can give of yourself, give of your love, give in terms of service, if you can feel that oneness with others, this natural sense of empathy, we will grow as a team. Because actually speaking, you know, Vedanta says, as bodies and minds we are different. In awareness we are not different. That Purna belongs to awareness, which is the same in all beings. One consciousness manifesting through different bodies and minds. This is the Vedantic vision. We have left out the consciousness part. We are only focused on body and mind. This is our practical problem. So we see, you are separate, I am separate. If something good happens to you, what bothers me? What is it to me? No, the same awareness which is in you is in me. Bodies and minds are different. If this is the truth, then what is your definition from my standpoint? You are me in another form. I am you in another form. So whatever happens to me in a very deep way is going to affect you. Whatever happens to you in a very deep way is going to affect me. This is how this is the only way to grow together. Sangachadvam, samvadadvam. आपने सुना होगा ये hymn भी, Vedic hymn है. This is the actual ethos of Indian ethos of management, you can say. We grow together, we feel together, we think together, because essentially at the heart of things we are one. At the heart of things, consciousness is only one, manifesting through different bodies and minds. Because we have lost the signs of consciousness, we are only identified with body and mind. And the philosophy has become, what can I get from you? What can I get from this particular individual? That should not be the general philosophy of life. Our stress, our problems have only come because we are not being able to perceive the essential unity of things. If I have to teach a person empathy, that is not a human being at all. Empathy is natural to your heart. Oneness, universality, inclusiveness is natural to the human experience. You cannot exclude it from human life. Problems only arise when I consciously try to exclude, which means what? I'm separating myself entirely from others. Others have no place, no space in my mind. And then put up some artificial relationship. No. Seeing the essential nature of life is unity. There is one existence manifesting through manifold forms. I will learn the basic art of mind management and stress management. Because this is the fact about human life. Human consciousness is only one. This is what Vedanta, if you ask me Vedanta in a nutshell, it is this. Ekam Sat, Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. It manifests in different forms. But the essential Sat, existence is only one. Consciousness is only one. And we will work from this standpoint, that is why. So when I understand this, how will I handle this mind? Tell me. I will learn to handle this mind in a way in which I can include everybody. I feel for everybody. Stress will not build up. Anxiety disorders will not build up in me. If I can do this. If I make this the basic philosophy of my life. Stress, anxiety, all kinds of negativities come into our lives only when we have become very exclusive, bound up as it were. Which means what? My definition is where my sensations end. The end of my skin is the end of myself. I am just here. The others are all out there. No, not my concern. This is exclusiveness. This is against the Indian ethos, the Indian spiritual heritage. The basic idea is, in my consciousness there are no others. It is one. As bodies and minds, we are functioning differently. So once we get a hold over this understanding, we can move into what are the factors that build up stress and all this in us. You see, basically, it is because I am not able to handle this equipment. I do not know anything about the self, the mind, my energies functioning in this body. I know everything about the outer world. I know how to manage my business. I know everything of science, technology. I'm using everything, but I don't know how this system works. I don't know how my mind works, how my emotions are working. Look at your problems. Most of them are emotional insecurities, isn't it? Unnecessary anxieties built up, leading to stress. So once I understand it is my own intelligence which is insufficient, I will learn these basic principles which I'm going to show you here. Very wisely I will learn and accept and apply them. See, whatever we take in through the senses, to a great extent becomes the content of our mind. इसी को हम संस्कार कहते हैं, है ना? जो हम मन में रिपीट करते हैं, जो थॉट्स रिपीट करते हैं, वो संस्कार बन जाते हैं. And they further become your memories. Now, you are deciding what your sanskars will be and what your memories will be. Isn't this a fact? Huh? I decide my exposures, I take in from the external world, I create my thoughts and I generate my memories, which again keep popping in my conscious mind. Now, when I do all this, don't think it's a simple process. You know, you are actually creating the neural pathways in your brain when you think. This is an important point for all of us to know. Thinking, aise waise hi, it's not such an easy process. When I think intensely and repeat my thoughts, I am creating neural pathways in my brain. And these neural pathways are holding all of my energies. If I create good pathways, I don't have to worry so much about my life. If I create negative pathways, all kind of wrong conditioned thought, I will be creating very negative neural pathways, and that will result in a lot of stress in my system. From time to time, I will suffer this stress. So what are the factors that influence the neural pathways? First of all, how do you create neural pathway in your brain? Through the thoughts in your mind. Please see this. और कोई factor है क्या? Anybody getting into your brain and creating the convolutions there? Then making the neural connections there? Today's neurophysiology will tell you this. What you repeat in your mind is getting etched into your brain. It is making your neural connections. Your emotions create your neural pathways. So what are the factors which create this? Please see this slide here. You rewire your brain through your mind. The three factors which create your neural pathways are conscious attention spans, cognition or learning, and repetition. What does this mean? Conscious attention spans. Whatever you pay conscious attention to, your mind is simply absorbing that. And it won't keep quiet. It will repeat it. Repetition, and it learns something from it. Isn't it? Whatever you take in, it is in the form of cognitive learning. Now you have limited cognitive capacity. Whatever you take in becomes thoughts, becomes your sanskars when you repeat, and it becomes your memories. So you are entirely creating the content of your mind, and that rewires your brain. So if you want to change your brain, today we understand something by brain, we hardly understand anything by mind. But today's neurophysiology itself will tell you, you rewire your brain through your mind. So if I make my conscious attention spans very positive, which means what? My intake to the senses, what I'm paying attention to is positive. The cognitive learning will be positive, the repetitions will be positive. So I create a whole bunch of good sanskars. In neurophysiological language, it's called engrams in the brain. Your sanskar, its neural correlate is an engram. If you have enough positive engrams, you have a positive experience of life, no matter where you are placed. In how trying situations you are, you will have a very positive experience of life. But if I have not paid any attention to this, I am constantly taking in wrong stuff through my senses, having negative thoughts in my mind, negative thoughts, negative emotions. You see, our culture is a masterly culture. It has summarized this whole thing by saying all your negative emotions are due to toxic thoughts. What are those toxic thoughts? There are 6 groups of thoughts which are part and parcel of our culture. Repeatedly we have been warned against them, which are responsible for all your negative emotions. Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Moha, Matsarya. 6 groups of negative thoughts which are responsible for all your negative emotions. So if this is constantly playing in the mind, you can be sure how you are rewiring your brain and what an experience of life you will have. There are no heaven and hell. You create them right here. If it's a beautiful mind, you are in heaven. If it's a terrible mind created by yourself, not by anybody else, your own karma, as we say, then you are going to have a hellish experience of life right here. Hell and heaven are extreme poles of your own consciousness. How you have wired your brain through the thoughts in your mind is going to determine your experience of life. So then, this is the neurophysiological law, Hebbian's law of neural connections. Just see how obvious it is. Neurons that fire together are going to wire together. The law of association that we make. How do we associate things? It depends on this law. And neurons that fire out of sync fail to link. So if you want something to work, you must make the right associations, isn't it? Neurologically, not just physically. इसीलिए इतना important है taking in the right stuff, circulating the right thoughts and making the right sanskars, creating the right engrams, and you will have a beautiful experience of life. Even if your office is going haywire, you will be in a very balanced, calm state. If there is inner stability, inner balance. ये समझ में आ रहा है आपको how important this is? Otherwise, you may have beautiful colleagues, wonderful experience in the office, but you are morose and depressed. ये भी होता है ना? Mind management vital to happiness and success in life. So ये छोटी छोटी चीजें थोड़ा समझ लेनी है हमें, और कुछ नहीं है. Now let me go into understanding stress, which all of you I heard suffer from, many of you at least. But first let me just go through these equations. See, these are certain basic equations which I have made from yoga psychology and Vedanta also, which is easy for us. You see, scientifically conditioned we are now, even we. So what happens is we understand things by equations better, isn't it? So you see, now the first equation says S is equal to P into R. Here, S is suffering, P is pain, and R is resistance. Now this equation tells you, this from yoga psychology. They tell in a very complicated way, but I converted it into an equation. Suffering is equal to pain times your resistance. What does this mean basically? अब देखिए, life itself means there will be something good, something bad in it. Something which you don't like and something which you like. This is the nature of life, duality. It comes to you in these forms. Now if the resistance within you is maximum, 100%, you will convert what little pain comes into enormous suffering. है ना? See, somebody throws a bad word at you. It is the outpouring of some bad mood, that's all. But you added your ego and your anger and your hatred and converted it into such a big thing. For 1 month you didn't talk with that person. अब ये आपके resistance का काम है. Although you keep blaming that person, ये आपके अंदर के resistance का काम हुआ, इतना बढ़ा दिया. But if that resistance is zero, please see, suffering will be zero even if pain is there, according to this equation. If I make R 0, which means I have a very clean mind, no resistances within. I see things as they are. If an angry word comes to me, it is just the outpouring of somebody's bad mood. Why should it matter so much? So if I have this kind of a beautiful mind, if R is equal to 0, then even if some pain comes, suffering will not be there. Suffering is purely self-created. Isn't it? Isn't this true? So देखिए, ये equation मैंने कहाँ से draw किया है? Yoga psychology से. Such beautiful, all-encompassing ideas are there in our scriptures. इसको scientifically we have to draw it from there and learn to apply it in our everyday workspaces. Simple things they will tell you. ये everyday life में हमारे होता है because of the resistances we have built up within us. We resist everything. In fact, family today is full of resistances. That's why you are suffering your relationships. If you see this equation clearly, you will see where all am I resisting? How am I putting forth my emotions? That is why I am suffering. All suffering is due to this. The next equation is very profound. You just notice it. M is equal to T plus C. So C will be equal to M minus T. This means, what is mind it is telling you? According to yoga psychology, mind, M का मतलब है mind यहाँ पर. T का मतलब है thoughts and C is consciousness. Mind is nothing but thoughts playing on consciousness. This is yoga's understanding of mind. What is your mind? Thoughts playing upon an ocean of consciousness. So then what will be consciousness? It will be mind minus thoughts. इसी को योग कहते हैं. Yogastu chitta vritti nirodh, which means if you can remove thoughts from your mind, consciousness will remain over. Awareness will remain over. That is the real you. Just you have to remove thoughts from your mind and you will know your real nature as awareness. That is why I made this equation. See, M is equal to T plus C. So C should be equal to M minus T. This is the very first sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Yogastu chitta vritti nirodh. Why is it required to do chitta vritti nirodh? Because our mind is full of all sorts of utterly cluttered, highly cluttered. Unless I learn to remove my thoughts, make them objective, I will get mixed up. Anger comes, I become angry. Hatred comes, I become hateful. तो ऐसा जीने का तरीका हुआ क्या ये? If I'm full of all these things. But if I can objectively see them, distance them, I can handle them. I am not them. Anger has come into my mind, I know it. I am not angry. So it's a beautiful way to live once you learn to distance yourself from your thoughts. If you are mixed up all the time, terrible situation. So this is the practical effect of yoga psychology. It tells you how you can handle your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and how to use them for your purposes. Not get tied up with them and suffer them as we do many times. So these two basic equations are useful to you. So I gave them here. Next we will go to stress. What exactly causes stress? This is a very deep psychology, but I'm trying to make it easy here. See, first look at that diagram there. The conscious mind, whatever is happening in the conscious mind, which means your thoughts, they are called vrittis in yoga. When you repeat them, I told you, they go into your subconscious and become sanskars. Now, when does stress build up in your mind? You see, when all problems are due to negative attitudes and complexes in the mind. This you will all agree, isn't it? Due to the negativities in our mind. But they can be resolved through effort. So let us understand what is happening. First of all, the negative emotion and a defensive attitude create a wrong value system in your head. Usually we are very defensive of our emotions. Please see this. If I'm angry, I have a reason to justify that anger. I don't say, yes, it's a negative emotion on my part. I usually say, no, it's justified. My anger is justified. So don't go to that level at all. First think, what is it doing to me? It is making me angry and negative. What is it doing to the other person? It is making him hateful. So what is the use of this then? So understand this equation. Negative emotions plus defensive attitude will create a wrong value system. That and other conflicting thoughts. The mind is restless basically. So lots of other conflicting thoughts will gather. It gives you a repressed complex. You see those red things which I have put in the subconscious? That is the repressed complex. If that is there, then your stress builds up. It is a repressed complex basically. Repression means it is subconscious suppression. And that builds up. So then the whole mind becomes red, colored with that complex. And you are not responding in that situation. You are only reacting. Anything the other person says, you will explode. And then you know what a wonderful situation we create as a result. So we build up our stress. Please see this. Like for students, I give this example. When you are preparing for an exam, what are the psychological stress factors? Maybe laziness, procrastination, inattention and anger all bundled into one complex. And then dishonesty, if you indulge in that, that increases the stress. So all this will totally color the mind and your stress has built up enormously. Now, if you observe this, you will see it is self-created, isn't it? The trigger may be outside. The stimulus was outside. Somebody treated you badly. But it was created in my system by myself. So if I am in charge here, I know how to handle this. My stress will not build up. Even if the trigger is there. So I must learn to handle my mind. And this is what this slide will teach us. Stress and time management. You see, learning to relax on an everyday basis, bringing calmness into our system. And calmness is the property of a noble mind. Calmness is not sleep. True inner calm comes from honest, hard work and your ability to keep your system cool and stable. It is not, 12 hours of sleep and I will be stress-free. Kya matlab hua? So, calm mind, calm nerves is equal to success. This is the first thing. You must learn to relax deeply. Iske liye yog chahiye. A sense of deep inner peace, relaxation, calmness. Always, even in your workplaces. Not just early morning 5 minutes, not like that. Wherever you are, so that people find you reliable. You know, a very high-strung person cannot be considered reliable. कब क्या करेगा कोई बोल नहीं सकता, है ना? But if you are habitually calm, you will be looked upon as a reliable person, a person whom people can trust, because your reactions can be predicted. So this is the first point. A calm mind has plenty of time. Have you observed this? Huh? Restless minds have no time. Because the problem is here. It is our restlessness that swallows time. Mind has limited cognitive capacity, so you should utilize it best. Then, you plan your routine. Stress and time management go together. Many of us do not have a very beautiful routine, life routine, you know. Everyday life, how we lead. We are very, very, you can say, absolutely not committed to living a routine life. We are outrageous actually. We get up at any time, we sleep at any time, we eat any food. We have no routine absolutely. Many students are like, you see, I teach in IIT, Delhi, and there every student has this problem. Basic life routine is not there. The very word routine is allergic, they are allergic. Routine? नहीं. कुछ नया होना चाहिए life में, क्या routine? But then when they know all this, they understand that unless you have a routine life, let's not use the word routine, let us say your lifestyle is very positive or well-organized life. That is acceptable, isn't it? Better than routine. So if you have an organized lifestyle, what happens is you have definite hours for sleeping, getting up, eating. You know what to eat, where to eat, how to eat. Healthy food, not always McDonald's. If you have this kind of a life, what happens is your energies move in a particular regulated way. The pranic energy within you. Mind will remain clear. If very haphazard lifestyle, very difficult to control stress. This is one thing we should remember. A certain amount of organized everyday life. And then this and time management go together. Then yoga and exercise. Yoga, I told you, calming your mind, freeing it from thoughts. At least 5 minutes a day you should practice. Not that you will achieve it for the whole 5 minutes. You may achieve it for 5 seconds or 5 fractions of a second, but that helps. So yoga and exercise, of course. These go together. Some method to calm the mind like meditation, breathing exercises. You know, the beauty of breathing, regulating your breath is, when you regulate your breathing, try it right here. Sit straight, all of you. Yes, you just keep the backbone straight, mind becomes alert. See how simple it is. And then regulate your breath. Try it right here. This is no theory. Just regulate your breath. You can actually watch your mind. You are not overpowered by your thoughts. Just long drawn out breathing. Not small breaths, not restlessness. Small breath is equal to restlessness. Long breath is equal to calmness. Try it right here and see. When you are angry, just regulate your breath, you will become calm. When you are stressed out, regulate your breath, you will relax. Kitna simple hai ek procedure. Isn't this true? You get in a position that you are objectively seeing your mind. Kya ho raha hai? No negative emotion can remain if there is proper breathing. Then resolve the emotional complex through right attitude. Always remember, honesty is not just the best policy, it's the only policy. Anywhere, if you compromise on this, you will fall into great trouble. Now, I don't want to give you examples. You know it in your heart of hearts. That is why right attitude, by being absolutely honest, then only you are found to be absolutely reliable. This is the way to climb the ladder of success. In any workspace, you are absolutely reliable because you are absolutely honest with your emotions, with your attitudes, with your thoughts, and so with others. And then positive outlook. That should be our default state, you know, naturally grateful, contented, positive, radiating positivity on all sides. Speak good words. Of course, that is part of corporate culture nowadays. So all this, simple living, high thinking principles, all this help us manage stress and time. The bottom line is there is no substitute to a clean life. Honest, purposeful, pure, dedicated to high ideals keeps the body and mind healthy. It's only when I can't do this that stress builds up. So this is the bottom line for stress. Few more ideas we will discuss. Are you interested in Yoga Vedanta or no? You are interested. Then I will give you a few more ideas. Otherwise, I can just talk about problems. Problems always will be there. How I conduct the drama is the essential thing. Problems will be that life means there is goodness and there is problem also. If I conduct the drama properly, if I'm a good director, I will make sure my problems remain at bay and only the good comes into my life. So let us discuss some principles from Yoga and Vedanta, which has to do with your inner life. And let's not just discuss problems. You see, Vivekananda's very definition of education was to will rightly is education. Education is the nervous connection of ideas. Education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. Now, let me just go into this for Yoga Vedanta. You see, Bhagavad Gita is the very essence of Yoga and Vedanta. And it gives you two powerful ideas for mind control. This was Arjuna's doubt to Krishna. Same our doubt. Same thing going on. He also said, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavad dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. I find the mind very difficult to control. It's like the air. Balavad dridam, so strong, powerful, self-willed. I have nothing to do with it. You please check your thoughts and see, are you thinking or thoughts happening? Thoughts are happening or are you thinking? You're thinking? Be frank. Both. Sometimes you think, especially when problems are coming, then otherwise it's happening. By default it's going on. What is going on without your permission? Even actually physiologically, every organ is doing its own work. You are not doing anything. Please see. Your heart taking your permission to pump blood? Lungs doing anything with your permission? Things are automatically going on. Like that, mind also automatically going on. And we are just watching, Are kya ho raha hai? When it becomes too much, then we take some conscious step. Otherwise, it is going on. But there is a way of bringing this mind under control, bringing it into our hands. This system, not so easy to bring, the physical system, but mind, you can. Because, why should you? Because happiness is a state of mind. If the mind is not in your hands, you cannot be happy at will. Some external force is required to keep you happy. Mobile, internet, addiction for all this can keep you a little entertained. Comfort and security they give, not happiness. But we call that happiness. But all this you require to keep you a little stable and balanced and happy, so-called happiness. External things are required. But if you have this knowledge, you keep yourself happy without any of this. Nothing of this is required to actually keep you happy. Because happiness is a state of mind. Mind conditioned rightly, full of positivity, yields happiness just like that. All these are disturbances to such a mind, This is possible through yoga. And the way to that is this, what Bhagavad Gita is telling you. This is the answer Krishna gives to Arjun's question. How do I control the mind? He says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. You can control it through practice and through vairagya. Don't get frightened of vairagya. Vairagya doesn't mean becoming sadhu. It means keeping out of your mind what you don't want to experience. There are many things which you don't want to experience which are impinging on your mind. Keeping that out is vairagya. Leading such a noble life, such a great idealistic life, that the negativities will not come into your life. And abhyas, repetition. Anything you repeat becomes your nature, becomes your sanskar. Neuroplasticity, huge concept in neuroscience today. Brain is neuroplastic, which means what you repeat constantly, it will change its structure accordingly. What you repeat in your mind gets etched on your brain and it changes the structure of your brain. You can change yourself at any point of time. You are not hardwired for suffering, for stress, for fear, for negativity. Never. Your life and your mind is in your hands. Simple methods you must be able to draw from your own culture in order to keep this balanced state of mind. See, simple points. Abhyas is the workout of conditioning mind along positive lines, right? And Vairagya is meant to rewire the inner circuitry of emotions through righteous indignation, which means what? Something which is not of any worth should not find place in your life. इतना सा वैराग्य होना चाहिए, है ना? Obviously, if you want to lead a good life, I must distance myself from the bad. वो वैराग्य होना चाहिए. So this much we can easily do. Let me give you 3 ideas from Vedanta which are very powerful. See if you can catch it. Vedanta is very analytical, logical, rational. It will convince you right here what is the nature of the human personality. It says, I am the Atman separate from body and mind. Before going into this, I will convince you right here that your own personality has this element of awareness. See, now suppose I will ask you a question, please answer me. Forget that board. Just listen to this question carefully. Are you aware of your body or is your body aware of you? You are aware of your body. So also, are you aware of your thoughts or your thoughts are aware of you? You are aware of your thoughts. What does this mean? Awareness belongs to the subject. Body and mind are objects to that subject. Isn't it obvious? This is what Vedanta is telling you. You, the awareness, are functioning through the objective body-mind complex. आपने अभी तक सोचा ही नहीं, इतना सिंपल है. You are pure awareness functioning through a body-mind complex. That is why you become aware of the body. You become aware of your mind. They don't become aware of you. How can the body become aware of you? Awareness is you. Thought can be yours, but it is not you. Please see this. Body can never be you. Occasionally you are identified with it, that's all. But you have invested your life in thinking, your body, mind, somehow trying to keep body and mind happy and trying to see that they give you happiness. Wrong ways of thinking, nothing else. Because Vedanta has not come into us. Just understand this much. If I am the awareness functioning through a body-mind complex, what do I lack? I must use the body and mind as you would use an instrument to your purposes. If you were body and mind, you could not do that. And you are never body and mind. They are your instruments. So never reduce yourself into being a mere body and mind, into being mere matter. All knowledge, power, everything that you require is within you because you are the Atman. You are pure consciousness functioning through this body-mind complex. A little logic will convince you of this. और एक logical step बोलो आपको, just like this. One more bit of logic, Vedantic logic. Okay, you see, you pass through so many stages of life. Now, average lifespan here might be 40, 45, okay? All of you put together. Now, suppose 45 years old you are, say. You were once a baby, an infant, and then you were that toddler, then you were a child, you were a teenager. Today you are 45, getting on in years. Now, if I show you your photograph as a baby, you may not even recognize. But the same I has persisted throughout. Your I sense is the same. That very baby you were that toddler, you were that child, you were that youth, now you are 45 years old. The same I. Although body has changed, mind has changed. How much body has changed? You don't recognize your own babyhood picture. How much mind has changed? But the same I. How is this possible? unless you were separate from body and mind. Your sense of I is ever separate from body and mind. Unless you want to identify with them, you cannot even identify with them. Your thoughts are your thoughts. You are not the thought. Your body is your body. You are not the body. The very fact you can see it objectively means you are apart from it. This is so obvious in our experience, everyday experience, that we miss it. It's so obvious. You, the awareness, are functioning through a body-mind complex. ये point कैसे हम लोग miss करते हैं देखिए. This is what Vedanta is telling you. You are the Atman, functioning through a body-mind complex. So do not reduce yourself to the level of matter. Raise yourself by yourself. देखिए, all of this right now you can acknowledge. I am the Atman, separate from body and mind. I am the witness of all my mental activities. Hence, I am unaffected by them. I am not the mental problem, not even a part of my problem. I am totally separate and hence I can solve the problem. Am I aware of body, mind, or are they aware of me? Obviously, you said you are aware of them, which means you are apart from them. When there are no thoughts, still I am. थोड़ा सा आप meditation करोगे तो this also will become so obvious to you. When there are no thoughts in the mind, you are there to watch there are no thoughts. You, the awareness, are seeing that there are no thoughts. When there are thoughts, you, the awareness, see that there are thoughts. You are the witness of thoughts. You are the witness of the absence of thought. You are the witness of your conscious experience. You are the witness of when there is no conscious experience. You are the witness of the objective world. You are the witness of your body and mind. You, the awareness, always exists. The rest change. So the unchanging element in you, the real you, is pure awareness, consciousness. This is Vedanta. आप ही के experience में है. I am not telling from some scripture, Upanishads. I am drawing from your experience. So yoga and Vedanta is not something to be put there and dhoop jala ke, deep jala ke, worship karke, then I don't know what is in that. I lead my own silly life, enmeshed in my ego, without even understanding who I am. Yoga Vedanta means to be able to take these thoughts, understand them by applying it to my life and use it in my workspaces. To change my concept of myself first, so that I become a whole human being. The divine is right here within us, not in some heaven there. The consciousness in you is divinity. If you bring it to the forefront, you will be a natural giver. This is the spirituality which Vivekananda wanted in this age for these times. Not a spirituality estranged from modern life. It is not meant for Himalayan caves. Sitting there, I will do my yoga and Vedanta. You do whatever. You do lead your stressful life. That is not the purpose of Vivekananda's coming. Or of all these scriptures. I must be able to utilize it everywhere because it is my real nature. I am discussing my real identity. I am not discussing any scripture. So this element must come into our practical life. If this much you have been able to grasp and catch, I think my coming here is fulfilled. My purpose in coming here is fulfilled. आपको अच्छा लगा ये presentation? Is it of any deep value to you? Simple understanding of Yoga Vedanta will take you very far. Will take your thought process also very far. So let us now have questions upon this because participation is all important.
You just said that when my thoughts are there, then I am. And when my thoughts are not
No,
there,
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
It is done there. Even if I'm thinking...
No, when there are no thoughts, see it clearly. When there are no thoughts, still I am.
Yeah.
I am there.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying.
I am there to see the lack of thinking.
Yeah. So that is fine. But then you said that I do not change. Why did you specifically say that I do not change?
Very good.
This one is very perfect.
Yeah.
But the last part that I do not change.
See, very good. You see, very pertinent Vedantic question it is. What do I mean by I do not change is the real I the awareness, am always changeless. But the mind is changing, isn't it? My thoughts are changing. But I am the witness of those thoughts. The witness of these thoughts is ever unchanging. Please see if this is true or not. Abhi dekhiye na. I told you, Yoga Vedanta is not for mountain caves, which we have done a lot. But right here you can know, if I am able to perceive the changes in my mind, I am perceiving it from a standpoint of changelessness. Otherwise, I can't perceive change. Your simple physics will tell you this. If you can perceive motion, you must be at a stationary point of relatively less motion. Because you are awareness, you can perceive the changes in your mind. Right now, you can do it. If you are trained in yoga, when you shut your eyes, you can clearly see your thoughts. Like they are passing before you, if I pass this mic before me, as I will see it, you can see your thoughts like that. So you are separate from them. If you are witnessing your thought, you are not your thoughts. So you can control them. So I, the changeless awareness, am perceiving the changing thoughts. That is why I said, I am changeless. Thoughts are changing in my mind. I am not the mind even. This is the basic fact in Vedanta. Yoga is teaching you how to handle the mind. Vedanta is telling you, you are not even the mind. You are always the witness of the mind. Kitna gabhir jnaan hai ye dekhiye. It is tracking the real you, the unchanging you. Did you catch the point? Yes? Isn't this true? You are the witness of all change. Thoda sa practice karoge yoga, this will become pretty obvious to you. This is no theory which I am talking about. You can detect every change in your mind. And when there is no change, you can detect that also. You are always the witness, unless you want to identify with the thought. Now, a very beautiful thought came into your mind. You invested your awareness into it and plunged into it. That was due to your will. By yourself, you are always the witness of whatever is happening. आप सोच के देखो ये ठीक है या नहीं. Yes.
You say this very easily, no thoughts. As far as I'm aware, even Ramakrishna Paramhans, to have a no thought situation was extremely difficult.
True.
How do you practice this? Like your mind is blank. Because when you
Yeah.
think that I want to make my mind blank, you're again thinking that you want to make it blank. So,
Yes.
you know,
True.
So how do you make it blank?
Sorry, you only will have to come here, because if I go there, all this will fall. Yeah. How do we make the mind blank? A very pertinent question. See, this is precisely what yoga sadhana is about. When they are asking us chitta vritti nirodh, which means the vrittis of your mind have to be brought to a standstill. When they are asking for that, that means obviously there are methods to do that. The method to do this is bringing deep level stillness into your mind. Everyday basis, if you practice this for a few minutes at least, at some point the mind will come to a standstill. You are fully conscious watching it, standing still. You are there. It's not a state of sleep where everything has vanished. You are also not there. No. In fact, deep sleep state also, Vedanta will say consciousness is there. Consciously, this experience has to be gained in meditation, where you are watching the absence of thoughts in your mind. This can be done. It is not an impossible state. In fact, this is the perpetual state of yogis. And if this state is achieved, even briefly, you will understand. You know, I can tell you one very beautiful incident in the life of Rabindranath Tagore. What this state gives you. Once he was traveling he loved nature, and he would constantly try to be in proximity with nature. And he was once traveling on a boat on the Yamuna, and it was dusk, and he lit a candlelight, and he tried to pen a poem. But somehow he felt that day that flow was not there. Although he was such a great poet, that day he simply could not do it. The thoughts were not coming like that creatively. So what he did, he put off the candlelight. Then suddenly he found the moonlight flooded into the boat. By that time it was dark, the moon had come up, full moon night. The moonlight flooded into the boat. What a surreal picture, situation was created. And the beauty of the whole scene, flooded with moonlight, he went into a state of ecstasy. And such poetry started flowing from him that without lighting the candle, he just scribbled something on paper. And some beautiful poems came out at that time. The candlelight is your mind. Moonlight is your awareness. If you shut out the candlelight, moonlight will flood in. And it will release immense creativity within you. It will release the actual boundlessness of your being. This is a possibility. There is a trained way of going into it, which I cannot give you here in 5 minutes. Yoga is the science of consciousness. It's actually the technology. Vedanta is the science of consciousness. Yoga is the technology. How you can go into the state of pure awareness. This is what yoga teaches us. If you follow the method, this is a possibility. The meaning of moonlight coming into you, coming and spreading itself out, means you can be in a state of pure awareness, bereft of thought. This is a most refreshing state. It is the renewal of your mental energies actually, and the very heart of creativity. All creative people have somewhere touched this state. You know, when you experience a beautiful sunrise or sunset, suddenly the mind becomes still. Have you experienced this? Suddenly no thoughts, but you're just happy. This is a possibility. You can deepen this state.
But there are thoughts which we want to hold on
Yeah,
to.
correct.
So how do we then condition our mind to hold on to certain thoughts and then let go of the thoughts?
Yes, yes. You see, that's an important question, because usually we are manifest because we want to function through the mind. We do not want to let go of the thought world. We only want to let go of the negativities in the mind. That's all. In order to do this, you must condition the mind along positive lines so that only positivity reigns. Now, the way to do this is also there in yoga, which means what? You culture thoughts of kindness, care, concern, love. They are therapeutic in effect, you know. They will change your entire being. They are so powerful. And you deliberately remove thoughts of negativity from your mind, which means it's called Pratipaksha Bhavanam in Yoga Sutras. The negative thought coming, I replace it with a positive thought. Somebody yells at me, I smile and say, it's okay. It is possible to do this with a very balanced mind. If I'm sure that happiness is a state of mind and that depends on my positivity, on my positive thoughts, I will learn to do this gradually. This is always better than yelling back, you know. Isn't it? So it is possible to do this. Perfectly possible. अब आप थोड़ा कुछ करके देखो तब आपको पता चलेगा. You know the theory now. It's about doing. Religion is entirely practical. You know, Yoga, Vedanta, it can't even be called religion. It's actually pure spirituality. Nothing much to do with religion. This is purely practical. It's to be done. Do it yourself technique. Thoughts punctuate your continuous awareness. So if you stop thought, which happens occasionally as he is saying, you the awareness are left over. That's why you know you have stopped thought at that moment. Others, how do you know? आप होंगे तभी तो आप बोलेंगे कि चिंता हुई या नहीं हुई, है ना? If you are there, you will know the presence or absence of thoughts. The very fact that you say thoughtlessness was there, it means you were there. So awareness is always there. This is the point I want you to catch. Thoughtlessness will become part of your system once you understand the need for it. But you are basically the awareness which is the witness of thoughts and the absence of thought.
You said in your formula, M is C plus T. Okay, and then could you please elaborate a little bit more on T? So T would be what?
Thoughts.
So could you please elaborate more on a manifestation of thought, and how do you kind of get into positive or negative thoughts? So what's the manifestation?
Yeah, that's a very good, valid question. See, every thought, one complete thought has three ingredients. One is an idea. Usually it is accompanied by an emotion, whether you like it or not. You cannot dissociate the two. Suppose I say a rose. The beauty of a rose, some tinge of that will come into my mind. And there is vital energy from your system invested into this package to make it a conscious thought in your mind. So, three ingredients to every thought: idea, emotion, vital energy. Now, when I use that T here, by controlling any one of these, idea, emotion, or vital energy, I can change T. So, this is how you analyze one whole thought in your mind. This you can only see clearly if you go into the state of awareness without thought. Then you know the value of every thought. Vivekananda once said, you sit in a cave and think 5 powerful thoughts in a very completely self-aware state of mind, in a yogic state of mind. Those 5 thoughts are enough to revolutionize the world. They will barge through the cave, come and fall upon society, transform minds there, if you are able to radiate it from that level of consciousness. So thought can be very powerful if it is powered by this level of awareness. Otherwise, the thought can be a mess also. If your emotion gets out of proportion and overpowers the idea and the vital energy, what will happen? It becomes an over-emotional thought, an out-of-proportion thought. Same thing with your idea. Same thing with your vital energy. The whole point is this: our thoughts should be in our hands. I must be able to think straight, right, and I must be able to invest only as much awareness in it as is required. Not overthinking, not wrong thinking, not negative thinking, not thinking in a way which is self-destructive. So, to regulate the thought process, you need to step out of thought a bit, which is why yoga is required. Otherwise, your thought will tag you along. You are constantly identified with the thought process. Are you sensing this? Any emotion entering into my mind, I become full of that emotion and I'm reacting accordingly. This is a very strange state of mind. So then you cannot handle anything in your life. But if I step a bit behind thought, then I will see it for what it is and I will only increase that thought which gives me joy, which gives me happiness. The rest I will remove. Remember this, happiness is not restricted just to thought. Although thoughts can give you a lot of happiness. In fact, that's the only happiness most of us know. But there is a state far beyond thought, which is what is depicted in these equations.
In these times we use Facebook,
Yes,
Twitter.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
they are controlling our thoughts.
Yes.
So what do you want to say?
That's the great tragedy, no? Today, you see, when we were also in college, we had at the most some students who were negative. They would have at the most drug addiction or substance abuse. Today, there are hundreds of types of addictions for our children. Facebook addiction, Twitter addiction, that WhatsApp, constantly on that. And if they are not getting the messages they want and the likes, then depression. What is the meaning of living like this? I really don't understand. This level of scattered attention, what does it get you? Why do you need to share unnecessary information at this level and spoil your peace of mind? See, he said a vital point. He said, all these things are controlling our thoughts. We are slaves, that means, to our gadgets. Who invented the iPhone? Tell me you know it. Steve. He did not give it to his children. Do you know that? He did not give it to his children. He said they will get addicted to this and ruin themselves. He gave it to the public. Now, if you do not know how to use it and why you should not give it to your children, or at least help them overcome that addiction, whatever, then that's your problem. You must give things the importance they deserve. A gadget is meant to be used as an instrument. If it starts controlling you, what's the meaning of that? Other people control my emotions, gadgets control my thoughts. I am no better than a slave. Although there is no slavery in this age, supposed to be no slavery. I am a slave even to gadgets. So the only way to change this situation is I limit my times of exposure and train your children to do this. If you are doing it, the children will follow. If you and their friends are doing it, they will do it. For children, peer pressure is the main thing. If they will first listen to their friends, and second in number are you. So first you make sure their friends are doing the right thing or they have the right friends, and then you do the right thing and they will follow. But doing the right thing means I control my exposures. Definite time when I will check my WhatsApp, whole day to keep it open and it keeps beeping and your attention keeps going towards it and sharing unnecessary information which is not required. It only shows no goal orientation. It only shows that much, nothing else. So if I have a great goal to attain in life, I will know how much value to give to all these things. I will use them for my purposes and then keep them aside. Put them aside. The main cause for ADHD, you know ADHD? Many children are suffering from it today, colleges and university students. The main cause for that is overexposure. Before your mind can process the data coming in, it is bombarded by so many images, so many things, it is not able to process anything. Result is attention is constantly flitting. The mind is not at all stable. It can't keep quiet. And the child becomes overactive, that's why. And you call it hyperactivity. The main cause is overexposures and uncontrolled exposure. Anything can get into your senses and go and become a thought in your mind and become your sanskar. Are you such that just anybody's commercial need becomes a sanskar in your mind? A market economy rules the affections you should have? You want to live like that? If you don't want to, you must get a control over this system first. So my gadget is my gadget. It will not control me. This is perfectly possible. I know so many people who are doing it. You know how I handle my mobile? Only at fixed hours of the day. Not hour of the day, I will use it. And I have told anybody who wants to contact me that I will see it only once a day. And so you can only send message, not keep ringing me. And I will look at it at that time. What is required to be done, I will do at that time. But I will not waste my time on it. There is a way of handling every situation. You must decide your priorities in life.
So it would be better if you can share certain tips which we can inculcate in our daily life, as you shared, the one you do, I think so. It's one if we can get our timings for gadgets in the same way. There are certain 2 to 3 tips which you can share.
See, let me tell you this very beautiful question. This is practically what do we do? How do we do this? Early morning hours are very, very precious hours. If you get up early in the morning and go to your Facebook, I think that is a human tragedy. As soon as you get up in the morning, whether it is at 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever time it is, first 10 minutes, give it to God. Give it for some elevated idea or prayer or good reading, Bhagavad Gita, so that some clarity comes into your mind. Morning will decide your day. That precious time when nature is naturally calm, your mind is fresh because it has just got up. Don't waste that time in getting distracted. If those moments are collected, focused, you will see to a great extent mind remains focused throughout the day. First tip. Early morning, 10 minutes given for this yoga, some form of yoga. Either prayer or quiet stillness, you sit in stillness, try to empty the mind, or do a little puja. Sometimes that also helps some people. Or you read a passage from Vivekananda or Bhagavad Gita, something like this. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is a wonderful book. You can use such powerful literature to lift your mind. Once you do this throughout the day, at least a thought will come in. Oh, that is a possibility, this kind of a state. Second tip, regulated lifestyle. Let's not call it routine, but a regulated lifestyle in which there are fixed hours for fixed things. What happens is you conserve energy by doing that. Third tip is you try to keep good company. I'm not saying you're in bad company. What I'm trying to say is you try to relate with people who have such tendencies. Consciously you have to do it. Go a little out of the way maybe to do it. But if you do this, mind affects mind. So if you come in touch with people who are doing certain amount of yoga, who like these ideas, that company will lift you up in many subtle ways. Just like how children, peer pressure, we are also grown-up children, For us also, our company matters. So consciously you must go and connect with such minds. So like this, 3 tips I gave you. Connect like this and it's possible.